This video will briefly explain all German tenses. Before we start, it is important to understand two things. Firstly, you need to know what the verb stem is. This is a verb. The en at the end shows you that it is the infinitive or basic form. Without the en, you have the stem that you will need to create all sorts of grammatical forms. Secondly, there is the concept of verb 1 and verb 2 in German. Verb 1 is the only verb that will be conjugated. That means that it has its ending changed. It will be on position 2 of the sentence in a main clause, at position 1 in a question or order, and it is at the very end in a subclause. Verb 2 is always in the infinitive form or in the past participle form. Verb 2 will be at the end of the sentence. Let's begin. Das Präsens, the present tense. This tense can express all the English tenses shown in this list. The present tense is a single verb construction. You take the verb stem and add one of 4 endings depending on the person. Ich, du, st, sie, es, ihr, t, wir, sie, alle, n. Here are 3 examples. Machen, to make. Kommen, to come. Sagen, to say. Ich mache. I make. I'm making. I'll make. Du kommst auch. You come too. You're coming too. You'll come too. Sagt es. He says it. He's saying it. He will say it. There are some additional rules should the verb form end up having too many consonants in a row, and for special verb categories, namely the strong and the modal verbs. There's one category of verbs called separable verbs. When used as verb 1, the separable part, which is at the beginning of the verb, will be put as verb 2 in the sentence without any changes. Here are some examples. Anmachen, to turn on. Ankommen, to arrive. Ansagen, to announce. Ich mache es an. I turn it on. I'm turning it on. I'll turn it on. Du kommst an. You arrive. You're arriving. You'll arrive. Sagt es an. He announces it. He's announcing it. He will announce it. Das Perfekt, the present perfect. This tense can express all English tenses shown in this list. The present perfect is a two-verb construction. It has haben, to have, as verb 1, and the main verb as verb 2 in the past participle form. This form is constructed starting with g, then the verb stem, then t for weak verbs and n for strong verbs. There are some additional rules for certain prefixes and some vowel changes and irregularities in the strong verb category. Verbs of place change or status change use the verb sein, to be, instead of haben. Here are 3 examples. Ich habe es gemacht. I made it. I've made it. Sie ist gekommen. She came. She has come. Wir haben es gesagt. We said it. We have said it. Der Imperativ, the imperative. This is used to tell people what to do, so to request or order an action. This is a single verb construction. Just put the stem of the verb at the beginning of the sentence without using a subject. You can also add an e to the end of the verb to make it sound better. When addressing multiple people, use a t as the verb ending. Here are 3 examples. Machen, kommen, sagen. Mach die Hausaufgaben. Do your homework. Komm nach Hause. Come home. Sag es nicht. Don't say it. Literally, say it not. With strong verbs, this tense has a vowel change, just like in the present tense. When using polite speech, this form is completely different, but even easier. Just switch the position of verb 1 and the subject in a normal sentence exactly the same way as forming a question. For example, Sie gehen. You go. Gehen Sie. Go. Gehen Sie? Do you go? Das Futur 1. The future tense. Mostly the future is expressed by the present tense, but if you want to be explicit, you can use this one too. It is a two-verb construction. Verb 1 is werden, to become, and verb 2 is the infinitive form. Here are 3 examples. Machen, kommen, sagen. Er wird es machen. He will do it. Wir werden kommen. We will come. Ich werde es nicht sagen. I won't say it. Modalverben. Modal verbs. The 6 modal verbs are very useful to know for the coming tenses. Modal verbs are mostly two-verb constructions. Verb 1 being the modal verb and verb 2 being the main verb in the infinitive form. The modal verbs have a special stem that needs to be learned for the singular. Their conjugation differs. Ich, er, sie, es, just the stem. Du, st, ihr, t, wir, sie, sie, alle, n. Remember this conjugation because this is the basis of many tenses to come. 3 examples. Wollen, want, müssen, must, können, can. Ich will essen. I want to eat. Er muss gehen. He must go. Wir können es versuchen. We can try it. Konjunktiv 2 Ersatzform. K2 Subjunctive Replacement Grammar. The Konjunktiv 2 is a tense used for politeness and for expressing things that are not real, like dreams or speculation. Usually people use the replacement grammar, which is very easy. It is a two-verb construction. Verb 1 is würden, would, and verb 2 is the infinitive form. Here are some examples. Machen, kommen, sagen. Ich würde es machen. I would do it. Würden Sie kommen? Would you come? Er würde es nicht sagen. He wouldn't say it. Präteritum. Simple past tense. This tense is used to express the past mostly in written and formal German. It is a single verb construction. You take the stem and add the following endings characterized by the noticeable T. Ich, er, sie, es, t. Du, tst. Ihr, tit. Wir, sie, sie, alle, ten. Here are some examples. Ich machte. I made. Er fragte mich. He asked me. Sie sagte es. She said it. With strong verbs, the method is different. They have a past stem that you have to learn. It is mostly the normal stem with a vowel change. And then you simply add the modal verb endings. Ich, er, sie, es, just the stem. Du, st, ihr, t. Wir, sie, sie, alle, n. Here are 3 examples. Sehen, to see. Kommen, to come. Halten, to hold. Ich sah, I saw. Er kam, he came. Wir hielten es, we held it. Konjunktiv 2. The real subjunctive. This is a single verb construction used to express politeness or unreal things like dreams or speculation. With weak verbs, the form is identical to the simple past tense. With strong verbs, you take the past stem and add an umlaut if you can. Then you add an e between stem and the modal verb endings, unless there's already one there. Here are 3 examples. Sehen, kommen, halten. Ich sähe, I would see, I saw. Er käme, he would come, he came. Wir hielten, we would stop, we stopped. You can put any other tense in the Konjunktiv 2 form by putting their verb 1 in the Konjunktiv 2. Konjunktiv 1, Subjunctive 1. The Konjunktiv 1 is a tense used with indirect speech to distance yourself or take a neutral position to a statement. This single verb construction is in practical use only seen in the third person singular. It is constructed stem plus e. Here are 3 examples. Machen, kommen, haben. Er mache, he makes, he made. Sie komme, she comes, she came. Der Mann habe einen Bart. The man has a beard. The man had a beard. You can put other tenses in the Konjunktiv 1 tense by putting their verb 1 in the Konjunktiv 1. Das Passiv, the passive voice. The passive voice is used to focus on the object of the sentence while not saying or barely mentioning the subject. It is a 2-verb construction. Make the object the subject of the sentence and use werden, to become, as verb 1 and the main verb as verb 2 in the past participle Partizip 2. Here are 3 examples. Machen, to do. Lesen, to read. Sagen, to say. Es wird gemacht. It is being done. Der Text wird gelesen. The text is being read. Das Wichtige wird nicht gesagt. The important stuff isn't being said. By changing verb 1 into another tense, you can put the passive sentence into the respective tense. Das Plusquamperfekt, the past perfect. This tense is used to express that something happened before something else in the past. It equals the English past perfect in construction and meaning. It is a 2-verb construction. Verb 1 is haben or sein, like in the present perfect, but verb 1 is in the simple past tense, namely hatten, had, or waren, was. Verb 2 is the past participle of the main verb. Here are 3 examples. Machen, kommen, sagen. Ich hatte es gemacht. I had made it. Wir waren gekommen. We had come. Sie hatte es gesagt. She had said it. Futur 2. Future past tense. This tense is used to express that something in the future will have ended. It is rarely used. It is a 3-verb construction. Verb 1 is werden, just like in Futur 1. Then on the position of verb 2 is the past participle, Partizip 2, of the main verb, followed by the respective auxiliary verb haben or sein in the infinitive form. Here are some examples. Machen, kommen, sagen. Ich werde es gemacht haben. I will have done it. Sie wird gekommen sein. She will have come. Wird es ihm gesagt haben. He will have told him. And these are all of the German tenses. Before we close, let's look at the conjugation of the 3 irregular verbs haben, to have, sein, to be, and werden, to become. They need to be learned by heart.